Hey guys, welcome to Hannah Ajala's YouTube channel. I am Hannah Ajala. Hey, I'm Hannah, and last year I decided to do one of the biggest things I think I've ever done. I moved to West Africa. So this video is going to be highly requested via my other socials, and I'll just start with an introduction to those who have just subscribed, who may not know me. I am a journalist. I have been for the past 6+ years. I have a really big interest in real life documentaries. So initially this YouTube channel was a way to display bits of my work / a mini portfolio that I used leading up to becoming a journalist officially. And then fast forward now, I decide to work and travel across West Africa. So this was actually in planning for, I would say, not even up to a year. At some point in 2019, after I'd come from Ghana, I've been to Ghana so many times, I was really inspired to want to do this. So this video is going to be all about why I decided to move / live in West Africa, my itinerary, how much things cost, accommodation, flights, all of that. I got you. So I would say what initially spurred my interest of wanting to live in West Africa was the last year plus I've solely been working at the African department at my workplace organization, where on a day-to-day basis we're working on daily news stories. I'm learning so much about the continent to the point where I felt like the only bit that was missing was me actually being there. So when you're a journalist, as well as doing your day-to-day, you can also do things on the side like commission projects. I'm going to try to not talk too journalistically. Like if you want to do a podcast, you need to get that commission, meaning you need to speak to someone very senior to say, yes, you can do that. Now, since I've been working in international news, I've been, who likes to talk with their hands a lot? I have been particularly interested in West Africa, you know, just talking to young people that are doing incredible things and essentially changing stereotypes of our continent. I'm not solely going to base it on West Africa, but the entire continent. And this inspiration came from when I was going back and forth to Nigeria. So I was in Nigeria, met so many young people, realized that none of them actually were born in Nigeria. They were born in westernized countries, the UK, the US, Europe, and decided to move to Nigeria. So I was very fascinated. I did a little series that got lots of attention, and that's always something that I've sort of carried through the whole moving back. And there are so many incredible YouTubers who are talking about their moving back journey as well. I'll just put their names around here. Really loved watching their content, not only during that time when I was working on it for work, but when I was also planning to live / work in West Africa. I basically fizzled it down to 5 countries where I spent the past 7 months. So I left the UK in December. You can see loads of that in my travel film. So in terms of the itinerary, now this is a question I surprisingly didn't get a lot, and it was how much did you save? How much did I save? So just to reiterate, in regards to my work situation, I have been working full-time but decided to freelance because I figured the only way I'd be able to work on these commissions, local stories, travel freely, was to freelance, and I've never done it before. So I'll be very honest with you. I didn't save up to £1,000.
Wait a minute. Wait, first of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
It was my goal, it was my aim, but I didn't. I was very careless with money. I was traveling throughout the year. The month before I left, I spent about 2 weeks in Singapore and Bali, but I had a plan. I do not believe in the idea of going to West Africa to find yourself unless you have a family unit that you live with, a house that you don't have to pay accommodation for. So the key word is freelance. I was still freelancing whilst I was still traveling. I was still earning some sort of income whilst I was traveling. I wasn't paying for a lot of things whilst I was traveling. So Ghana, for example, the first place I went to, I didn't pay for my accommodation. I've got a family member who works in a hotel, so I was able to stay in a hotel for the first 10 days, and for the rest of my trip I stayed with my friend in their apartment in a spare bedroom. So those provisions were already set in place. As long as I had a good amount of spending money to see me by, then I was good. But I can say that a month into me living in West Africa was when I paid a lump sum, and then from there I was able to start saving. So I cannot actually give you an estimate on how much to save for it, but I can talk you through my costs. So a budgeting template is a major key. I'll link that in the description. I set rough goals on what I wanted to spend, and those were categorized into 3 bits. So it was travel. How am I traveling? By bus, by plane, by boat? How much that would cost, accommodation, am I staying in an Airbnb, am I staying for free, am I going to be hosted, am I going to stay at a hotel, and spending money, which was a big one. So on average, the most expensive flight was from London to Accra, which cost £420, and within each of the cities that I went to, flights were no more than £200. The only alternative mode of transport I took was from Gambia to Senegal by bus, and that was the cheapest at £20, which is incredible. In terms of accommodation, I only paid for accommodation in 2 countries, I believe. So it was in Senegal throughout the duration of my 2 weeks and a bit there. I spent just over £100, and in Gambia for the first quarter of my trip I paid for an apartment, and I literally met a friend over dinner. He had 2 spare bedrooms. I moved into his place, and we are still amazing, awesome friends. So that's one of the beauties of traveling, meeting people and getting free accommodation. So yeah, here I'm just putting like a breakdown of how much everything costs, from accommodation, travel, spending money, and I wrote a blog post about it, which I will also link down below. Now, in terms of traveling and navigating and moving around, I am quite a planning kind of person. So not only did I have a Google Doc detailing the ideal dates that I wanted to spend, I only booked a flight maybe about 3 weeks before going to the next destination, 2 or 3 weeks. It depends on the price. So that's another thing I recommend, also having Skyscanner to set up alerts, so you know when is the cheapest time to fly out of where you want to go. And there's some places that you just want to love and stay at forever. So I had a lot of security in Sierra Leone. I was staying in my friend's beautiful family home, so there was no pressing rush to go, and the same goes for Gambia, and of course Nigeria, my motherland, where I spent most of this trip. So I would say with making friends and stuff like that, I don't believe that it depends on whether you're an introvert, extrovert, ambivert, whatever kind of vert. I think it's just about being well connected. So Instagram is an amazing tool for finding people that are in particular areas that you want to visit. I remember when I solo traveled in the south of France, I really wanted to know how ethnically diverse a particular area I wanted to stay in was, and I literally searched on Instagram, saw that there was a good mix, and that gave me confidence in booking my flight. So having a rough awareness of the area that you're staying in helps. And I can honestly say, if you know at least 1 or 2 people in whatever country that you're going to, then you're good. That's what I love so much about the people that I met in Sierra Leone, for example. It was my friend who saw on my social media that I was there the same time as her sister. She linked us together. I thought we were going out for ice cream. That ice cream was also combined with shots of Hennessy, and then we went out, and through my friend's sister I met another friend who was literally my home girl for the first half of my trip until she had to go. So there's so many different ways to meet people and to navigate. I feel like there's so much potential in exploring more of West Africa in ways that's not typically written about in tourist sites and, you know, all these blogs or etc. It's a really personable kind of beautiful experience. So yeah, I definitely don't want to make this a long one.